Homo sapiens began hunting large mammals about 300,000 years ago. At this point, humans had been around for more than 2 million years. We had spent most of that time living in small groups and moving from place to place, following the herds. We lived off the land, eating plants and fruit, and occasionally hunting smaller animals. But now, with the emergence of new technologies, larger prey was within reach. And this change in diet would change everything. Large mammals provided a source of protein that was much more filling than fruit or berries, and provided nourishment for human brains that were 3 times larger than our closest relatives, the chimpanzee. This new food source required special attention, though meat spoils quickly and needs to be kept cool and out of sight to keep predators away. Suddenly, humans needed a way to transport their food over long distances and keep it fresh until they could eat it. This need led to the invention of the first carrier. Imagine a group of people running after a woolly mammoth. The chase goes on for hours, and eventually the mammoth falls. But it's too big to eat right away. The hunters use spears and sharp rocks to cut up the carcass and distribute it among the members of the group. Each person takes a hunk of meat and some fat to sustain them, while they move on to a new location. They wrap the meat in the hide of the animal they just killed and secure it with a leather strap made from another animal's hide. Voila, an early backpack. Okay, maybe that wasn't exactly how it happened, but that's basically what the evidence is telling us. The oldest piece of evidence comes from a cave in France called Chauvet, decorated with some of the oldest known cave art depicting various animals from between 32,000 and 36,000 years ago. One panel shows a strange figure carrying something on his back. He's unlike any other creature depicted in the cave, because he's the only one with an obvious set of shoulders. Everything else is drawn with elongated bodies and no clear necks, probably to emphasize their speed and agility. But this one has shoulders, which researchers think might represent the weight of a load he's carrying. What he's carrying looks like a bunch of bird skins or pelts laid over his back and tied together in some way. His hands are also in a carrying position, suggesting he's got a heavy load. Some researchers think this guy might be a shaman, but even if so, it's hard to say whether he's wearing a backpack or not. The earliest confirmed backpack, though, comes from a burial site in Belgium, where archaeologists found a pouch made of woven grasses, alongside a skeleton estimated to be around 14,000 years old. This type of bag would have been good for gathering wild onions and garlic, which can grow at depth that would be difficult to access without a container to put them in. However, archaeologists don't know for sure if it was used as a backpack or simply carried by hand. After all, there's no evidence of shoulder bones being modified for carrying loads, nor is there any trace of leather straps or other types of bindings. So this pouch may have been a precursor to the backpack, but we can't be certain. The next pieces of evidence come from two caves in Spain, El Castillo and Maltravieso. Both contain images of humans carrying objects on their backs. The figure in El Castillo has geometric lines extending from his shoulders, making it clear that he's carrying a burden. His arms are raised with what appear to be two straps, connecting them to whatever he's carrying, suggesting a yoke similar to what we see on oxen pulling a plow. Unfortunately, this image is so faded that we can't see what he's actually carrying. It could be a large animal skin, or maybe even a small boat. The second image comes from Maltravieso and shows a man carrying what appears to be a net full of fish. In this picture, the artist took a little more creative license. Instead of drawing a realistic-looking head, he gave this man a bird's head complete with wings. Why he did this, we don't know, but it does seem to indicate that the man is carrying a large catch on his back. These images, along with a few others, tell us that carrying things on your back was a very old practice dating back tens of thousands of years. But it doesn't really tell us anything about how it was done. Luckily though, we have a pretty good idea of how early backpacks worked thanks to modern experiments. In 2015, archaeologist Anna Spezies and her team set out to recreate a prehistoric backpack. They wanted to understand the technology involved in creating one and discover what it would have been like to wear. The resulting backpack was a far cry from the sleek models we're used to today. Spezies used deer hide for the main body and attached to straps made from ox hide to attach it to a wooden frame. She then used a bone tool to punch holes in the hide so she could thread sinew through them to make stitches. Finally, she stitched the whole thing together using a basic running stitch. The finished product weighed 28 pounds, almost as much as Spezies herself. As she put it, it was extremely cumbersome, hot, uncomfortable, tiring. The heavy weight pulled on her neck and shoulders, and the lack of padding left marks on her skin. As she walked, she had to constantly adjust the straps to keep the pack from tipping over. It was incredibly difficult to see out of the sides because of the height of the pack, and she couldn't lift her arms very high without fear of toppling over. Despite all the drawbacks though, the pack worked. It could hold up to 70 pounds of food and supplies, enough for a day's journey. Archaeologists think that early backpacks were probably quite similar. Carrying such heavy loads would have worn down our ancestors' spines over time, which may have contributed to the development of an upright posture. Other experts, though, disagree. They argue that anatomical evidence suggests humans evolved to walk upright well before the invention of the backpack. And even if they did contribute to our unique posture, we wouldn't see any effects for thousands of years. That's because genetic changes can take 400,000 years to show up in the fossil record. So, any changes caused by backpacks would still be a long time coming. As for what our ancestors packed inside these early backpacks, that depends on where they lived and what was available. In Europe, for example, archaeologists have found perforated stones that could have been used to grind grain into flour. Experts think these were probably carried by women who gathered wild grains while men went out to hunt. In Africa, archaeologists discovered bone needles, beads made of baboon teeth, and a bone pendant that might have been used for protection against evil spirits. Early backpacks weren't just useful for transporting goods. They were also important for trading and signaling group affiliation. For example, brightly colored beads and pendants could identify a member of one tribe from another. Archaeologist Francesco De Ricco thinks that early backpacks might have even been used as a status symbol. By displaying certain colors, symbols, and patterns on the outside, travelers could show off their group's identity, wealth, and power. Hey there, welcome to this channel. Today, we're going to talk about Chapter 2, Ancient Civilizations. More specifically, we're going to be focusing on packs used by soldiers and travelers during ancient times. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, stay tuned. And if you want to get your hands on a free chapter summary of this book, check the description box below. Let's start with the Egyptians and Mesopotamians. The Egyptians were among the earliest civilizations to use leather, satchels, or pouches. These packs were carried by workers who needed to transport tools or other materials such as papyrus, quills, and ink. They were also used by messengers who had to carry important documents or other goods over short distances. A worker's pack might contain tools such as a hammer, chisel, and saw, along with a container of water for the journey. Messengers might carry sealed clay tablets containing official correspondence or legal documents. But despite their early adoption of these packs, there isn't much evidence that the Egyptians used backpacks when traveling long distances, possibly because they relied on animal caravans such as donkeys and camels to transport their goods. However, the Mesopotamians developed more substantial packs made of leather or red mats covered in resin that were used by merchants and travelers. They typically carried goods such as textiles, pottery, and metalwork, and the packs were designed to be carried by one person on foot or by a donkey. For example, an expedition led by the Sumerian king Shogi in the 21st century BC included merchants who carried their goods in such packs. They traveled to distant lands to acquire valuable commodities such as lapis lazuli from modern day Afghanistan and gold from the Arabian Peninsula. During the first dynasty of Isin, traders are depicted carrying goods in similar packs on their shoulders while walking alongside ox or donkey caravans. These packs were practical and durable and well suited to the arid climate of Mesopotamia, where heavy pack animals weren't always available or necessary. The ancient Romans used a pack known as a sarcina, which was designed to be carried by soldiers and could hold up to 33 pounds of supplies. These packs were essential for legionaries who often went on long marches carrying their weapons and gear. The sarcina was made up of two main parts. The first was a wooden frame covered in leather that served as the base of the pack. This frame was rectangular and approximately 18 inches wide and 26 inches long. It was reinforced with leather straps and served as the foundation for carrying the weight of the supplies. On top of the frame, a waterproof canvas bag was placed and secured with leather thongs. This bag was designed to hold the legionaries' rations and other supplies. The supplies carried in the sarcina varied depending on the soldier's role, but typically included food, ammunition, and personal items. Each legionary was responsible for packing their own sarcina, which was a testament to the Roman army's emphasis on discipline and order. The soldiers were expected to keep their packs well organized and easily accessible, so that they could quickly grab the supplies they needed during battle or while on the move. During a long march, a fully equipped legionary would carry around 70 pounds of supplies, including his weapons, shield, armor, and pack. The sarcina was an important part of the Roman army's logistical system, which was key to its success in waging war. The ability of legionaries to carry their supplies on their backs allowed them to travel long distances and stay in the field for extended periods. This was especially important during the Roman Republic and Empire, when the army was often deployed far from home and had to be self-sufficient. Another civilization that utilized backpacks were the Chinese. The Chinese began using backpacks during the spring and autumn period, which lasted from 770 to 446 BC. One of the most common types of backpacks used during this time was the woven pack. This pack was made of strong fibers such as hemp or linen that were tightly woven together to form a sturdy bag. It had a rectangular shape and was designed to be carried on the back with two shoulder straps. Woven packs were commonly used by merchants, travelers, and soldiers who needed to carry goods or supplies over long distances. They were lightweight and durable and could carry a significant amount of weight. Another type of backpack used in China was the baggage pack. This pack was larger than the woven pack and was used primarily for transporting goods during long journeys. It had a round shape and was made of thick leather or canvas that was reinforced with wooden frames. Baggage packs were typically carried by porters or pack animals such as donkeys or horses, and were commonly used during trade expeditions along the Silk Road. Lastly, another civilization that used backpacks was the Inca. The Inca were known for their extensive road system that stretched over 40,000 miles throughout their empire in South America. Along these roads, there were storage facilities known as tambos, where travelers could store their goods and receive supplies. However, travelers still needed to carry some of their goods with them, and that's where backpacks came in. The Inca used a type of backpack known as a Lao-Tu, which was made of a rectangular piece of cloth that was folded and tied at the top. The cloth was usually made of alpaca or llama wool and was strong enough to carry heavy loads. The lata was worn on the back with 2 shoulder straps and a chest strap to help distribute the weight. It was commonly used by merchants and messengers who traveled along the Inca roads, carrying goods and messages between different cities. In conclusion, Chapter 2 of this book talks about how many ancient civilizations developed different types of backpacks for various purposes, such as carrying goods, supplies, and equipment. Egyptians used leather satchels for workers and messengers. The Romans used a pack called a sarcina, which was made up of a wooden frame and a canvas bag to carry rations and gear for their legionaries. The Chinese used woven packs for shorter trips and baggage packs for longer journeys along the Silk Road. And the Incas used a simple yet effective laut to carry goods along their extensive road system. Each civilization had unique needs and challenges and developed packs that were well suited to their environment and way of life. The development of these packs reflects the ingenuity and adaptability of ancient humans and their ability to innovate and create solutions for the challenges they faced. When most people think of medieval packs, they picture leather and metal studded bags carried by hairy barbarians over their shoulders. But that's not really how most people traveled in this time period. In fact, the vast majority of travelers carried something much simpler: a cloth sack tied with a rope. These were used by pilgrims on their way to holy sites like Jerusalem or Santiago de Compostela. In the Middle Ages, it was common for people to set out on foot to visit these shrines, walking for days or even weeks at a time. They would carry a bag of provisions, food, and other necessities for the journey. And when they arrived at their destination, the bag would be simple and unadorned. Because in the Middle Ages, traveling was usually done on foot. The backpack was an essential part of the pilgrim's attire, providing them with a means to carry their belongings and endure the hardships of the road. It was a symbol of their devotion and perseverance, representing the weight of their faith and the burden of their journey. In some cases, the pack might contain relics or souvenirs that the pilgrim hoped to acquire at the shrine. For example, a piece of cloth from the Virgin Mary's cloak, or a stone from the biblical lands of Israel. When they got home, the pilgrim could then sell these items to raise money or trade them for other goods. So, the backpack served not only as a tool for sustenance, but also as a vessel for commerce. For many, the pilgrimage was a deeply spiritual experience, one that tested their faith and rewarded them with a sense of accomplishment and connection to their beliefs. And the backpack became an integral part of that journey. Traveling merchants would also carry a simple bag, usually made from linen or hemp. The sack was large enough to hold their wares and was often reinforced with leather straps and wooden stays to help support its weight. This type of bag was chosen for its durability and practicality, as merchants often had to carry their packs over long distances and through rough terrain. It was important that the bag could withstand the wear and tear of travel, while still being easy to carry. The contents of the merchant's pack varied depending on their trade. Some merchants sold everyday items like spices or cloth, while others dealt in more valuable goods such as jewelry or precious metals. In addition to their wares, merchants would also carry tools of their trade, such as scales and weights for measuring goods or a blacksmith. They might also carry bedding and cooking supplies if they planned to stay on the road for an extended period. Scholars during the Middle Ages would have similar book satchels. These were designed to carry books, scrolls, or other academic materials, often made from leather and heavily padded to protect their fragile contents. They had a wide strap to go across the back and down the center to balance the weight. There are accounts of scholars wearing them on a belt or a chain around the neck. However, most commonly, the satchel hung from one shoulder and was closed with buckles or latches to keep the contents secure. A well-made book satchel could last for generations, becoming a cherished possession of the scholar and passing down to their students or heirs. The books themselves were often bound in leather and carried in protective cases within the satchel. This helped to preserve the texts and ensured that they remained clean and undamaged despite the rigors of travel. Backpackers in this time period probably had rucksacks similar to those used by soldiers. During the Middle Ages, armies relied heavily on foot soldiers who needed a way to carry their equipment and supplies. The rucksacks were typically made from thick canvas or leather and were designed to be carried on the back with a single strap. They were spacious enough to hold several days' worth of rations and other necessities, such as extra clothing and blankets. The rucksacks were also durable and waterproof, capable of withstanding the rough terrain and inclement weather that soldiers often faced. Pilgrims, merchants, and scholars may have also used backpacks. As mentioned before, these packs were often made of leather or canvas and were designed to carry a variety of goods, including food, clothing, and academic materials. While these packs were not as standardized as the military-issue rucksacks, they still played an important role in facilitating trade, religious pilgrimages, and intellectual pursuits during the Middle Ages. Throughout the Middle Ages, different regions and cultures had their own styles of backpacks, each with its own unique features and designs. For example, Backpacks made in Italy tended to be smaller and more compact, while those made in Germany were larger and more spacious. Some backpacks were adorned with decorative elements such as metal studs or leather fringe, which not only served as a form of decoration, but also had practical uses such as protecting the pack from the elements. In addition to their size and design, backpacks also varied in terms of their construction methods. Some were made using simple hand-stitching techniques, while others were more elaborately constructed with intricate patterns and designs. The materials used to make backpacks also varied widely, with leather and canvas being the most popular choices. However, some packs were made from wool or linen, while others used a combination of materials to create a more durable and long-lasting product. Overall, the backpacks of the Middle Ages were essential tools for travelers, scholars, merchants, and soldiers alike. They provided a means of carrying essential goods and supplies, allowing people to travel long distances and engage in trade, religious pilgrimages, and military campaigns. While the backpacks of this era were not as sophisticated as those of today, they were nonetheless an integral part of medieval life, reflecting the needs and demands of a rapidly changing world. During the Middle Ages, the concept of a backpack began to take shape. The term backpack itself may have originated from the Old French word airback, meaning he who carries on his back. As packs evolved from simple sacks to more complex structures, they began to take on a life of their own. By the end of the Middle Ages, the backpack had become a distinct object with its own characteristics and uses. Backpacks symbolized mobility and independence, allowing individuals to travel and trade without being tied to a specific location. They also represented knowledge and scholarship, enabling scholars to carry their books and manuscripts with ease. Moreover, backpacks were associated with adventure and exploration, encouraging people to venture beyond their familiar surroundings and discover new horizons. However, backpacks were not just objects. They were also tools for social status and identity. Wealthy merchants and nobles could afford finer packs made from high-quality materials and adorned with decorative elements, setting them apart from poorer members of society. Additionally, the design and style of a backpack could signify a person's occupation or belonging to a particular group. As we move into our next chapter, it's important to note that the evolution of the backpack did not happen in a vacuum. Packs from this time period reflect the broader changes taking place in society, such as the rise of merchant classes, the growth of universities, and the spirit of adventure and exploration. The backpack had become a versatile and indispensable part of medieval life, adapting to the changing needs and demands of the era. The packs of today are generally designed for day hikes or trips lasting a few days at most. But what about longer expeditions? What did Lewis and Clark carry with them on their nearly 2-year journey to the Pacific Ocean and back? How did Thor Heyerdahl carry his belongings when he drifted 4,300 miles across the Pacific Ocean on the Kon-Tiki? And how does one pack for an 18-month expedition to both poles? Today, we'll explore the packs used by some famous explorers from the past and see what lessons we can learn from them. In the 18th and 19th centuries, explorers relied on packs made of leather and canvas. These packs were durable and could withstand the rugged terrain they encountered. They were also versatile and could be used to carry a variety of gear and supplies, often on very long journeys. One of the most famous explorers to use a leather and canvas pack was Sir Richard Francis Burton. Burton was an explorer, writer, and soldier who traveled extensively in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. He was the first European to travel to Mecca and Medina, and his travels in Africa led to the discovery of the source of the Nile River. Burton's pack was made of leather and canvas, and was designed to carry all of his essential gear and supplies. It featured multiple compartments and pockets to keep his belongings organized and protected. The pack was also reinforced with metal corner protectors and straps to add durability and support. In addition to the main pack, Burton also carried a smaller day pack made of leather and canvas. This pack was used to carry his camera equipment, notebooks, and other supplies needed for his explorations. Together, these packs allowed Burton to carry everything he needed to survive and thrive on his many adventures. Another famous explorer who used a leather and canvas pack was David Livingstone. Livingstone was a Scottish missionary and explorer who traveled extensively in Africa. He was the first European to see Victoria Falls, and his travels led to the discovery of the Zambezi River. Livingstone's pack was similar to Burton's, made of leather and canvas and designed to carry all of his essential gear and supplies. It also featured multiple compartments and pockets to keep his belongings organized and protected. However, unlike Burton's pack, Livingstone's pack had a distinctive red color, which became a symbol of his adventurous spirit. Despite the rugged terrain and harsh conditions he encountered, Livingstone's pack held up well and helped him on his many explorations. Okay, let's talk about the Sherpas. If you want to hire a guide for your next hike, chances are your search will lead you to a company that uses Sherpas. Tenzing Norgay was a legendary Sherpa who, along with Edmund Hillary, became the first people to reach the summit of Mount Everest in 1953. Sherpas are known for their strength, endurance, and knowledge of the mountains, and they often carry heavy loads on their backs. But what kind of packs do they use? Well, surprisingly, Sherpas don't typically use modern backpacks. Instead, they rely on a more traditional strap system that distributes the weight of the load across their bodies. They also use a combination of harnesses, ropes, and pulleys to help them carry and control their loads. One of the main benefits of this traditional system is that it allows Sherpas to carry much heavier loads than what would be possible with a backpack. For example, it's not uncommon for Sherpas to carry loads of 200 pounds or more on their backs. Another benefit of this system is that it's very versatile and can be adapted to different types of terrain and weather conditions. Sherpas are able to adjust their harnesses and ropes to ensure that their loads are secure and stable even on the most challenging hikes. Overall, the traditional strap system used by Sherpas is a testament to their strength, skill, and adaptability. It's a highly effective way of carrying heavy loads and has been used for centuries in the rugged terrain of the Himalayas. Alright, now let's talk about the packs used by European armies during the 19th century. During this time period, there was a growing need for a lightweight, durable, and comfortable pack that could be used for extended periods of time. The result was the development of the knapsack, a triangular-shaped pack that could carry up to 40 pounds. The knapsack was made of waterproof materials such as waxed canvas or leather, and was designed to distribute the weight of the load evenly on the shoulders. It also featured padded shoulder straps and a breathable back panel to increase comfort. One of the first militaries to adopt the knapsack was the British Army. In 1857, the British East India Company was replaced by the Crown, and a new uniform was introduced, which included a knapsack. The knapsack was used to carry equipment such as ammunition, food, and medical supplies. It was also a convenient way to transport personal belongings such as clothing and bedding. The British Army's adoption of the knapsack was part of a larger trend towards lighter, more mobile equipment. This was in response to the changing nature of warfare, which was becoming less static and more fluid. The knapsack allowed soldiers to move more quickly and easily, which was essential in the face of new military tactics and technologies. Other European armies quickly followed suit, and the knapsack became a common sight on the battlefields of the 19th century. Overall, the 19th century saw significant advancements in pack design. The shift from heavy, cumbersome backpacks to lighter, more comfortable knapsacks was a major improvement for soldiers and explorers alike. These packs allowed for greater mobility and comfort, which was essential for those who carried heavy loads on their backs. The story begins in Norway in 1908, where outdoorsman Ole F. Bergen invented the external frame pack. The internal frame pack had been around since the mid-1800s, but what Bergen was trying to do was create a more efficient way to carry a heavy load over long distances. The external frame he envisioned would be lighter than the internal frame packs used by porters in the British Army, which he thought were too heavy. His idea consisted of a rectangular steel frame that sat outside of the pack, connected to it with two long poles. A triangular piece of wood was attached to the bottom of the frame to help distribute the weight and provide leverage when carrying heavy loads. Bergen also wanted to include features for climbing and ice axes, plus a folding camp stool. By the time his patent was granted, only the basic frame remained. Still, this invention marked the beginning of the modern backpack. From here, the design was refined and improved upon. In the early 1920s, Swedish engineer and geologist Axel Wilhelm Lundell created an aluminum frame that could fold down for transport. He called it the Fjällräven, or mountain fox, after seeing Bergen's invention. Lundell further developed the external frame pack, adding features for hunters like a game holder and rifle rest. These packs were produced in Sweden and Norway throughout the 1930s, though production ceased during World War II. By this time, military rucksacks had become standardized, making the packs more durable and better suited for their wear and tear. Soldiers could even use their packs as makeshift beds, which is why the Germans included an extra set of laces specifically for this purpose. While there were many different designs, the general shape and form had been pretty well established. With more standardization came increased efficiency, meaning that soldiers no longer had to spend valuable time repairing their equipment in the field. Packs were made out of materials like canvas, leather, and denim, all designed to last. Some packs were covered in a wax canvas, making them waterproof. This standard form would continue to be used well into the future, appearing almost identical to Vietnam-era rucks. Even the iconic Alice pack, introduced in the 1980s, has its roots in the 1940s. It may not have been particularly comfortable, but it was extremely practical, so the design remained. Unfortunately, this practicality didn't extend to women. During the war, women were encouraged to keep their feminine figures by wearing specially designed, small-waisted uniforms. Women were not issued the same equipment as men. Instead, they were given special equipment designed specifically for them. This was not only to fit their smaller frames, but also to ensure they conformed to beauty standards of the time. Because women were not allowed to carry heavy loads, their equipment was lighter, their rifles were smaller, and even their helmets were made of a lighter material. And instead of a rucksack, they were issued a knapsack, similar to a woman's handbag, with special holsters for their Webley revolver and a pigeon chest carrier for their Sten guns. These were designed to be carried on the left shoulder, leaving the right arm free to operate the gun. There were even special carriers for Bren gun machine gunners, designed to be carried on the back. Although these items were never officially documented, a lucky find for any collector. But it wasn't just soldiers toting external frame packs. On the home front, people were spending more time outdoors, hiking, camping, and backpacking as a new form of recreation. Companies popped up across Europe, America, and Asia to outfit these adventurers. One of the most popular brands was the German company Eterna, which began producing backpacks in the 1920s. These high-quality, well-made packs became known for their comfort and durability. Its slogan, "A guarantee of quality since 1924, was later changed to a guarantee of 100 years, showing how well regarded the brand was. Some of their most famous packs were the 1936 Barranco, named after the Swiss Barranco Pass, and the 1950s model Antarctica. Many of these old external frame packs can still be seen on trails today, refurbished and ready for another adventure. Of course, the external frame pack was not without its drawbacks. The large frame made it difficult to move through tight spaces, and although the design did improve over the years, they were still difficult to put on and take off. Not to mention, they were heavy. But the biggest downside was the bulk. Not only was the entire pack bulky, but the frame itself stuck out several inches from the wearer's back, making it easy to snag on branches while hiking. However, for carrying gear over long distances, it was ideal, especially when compared to earlier styles of carrying heavy loads. In the United States, packs were being used by both Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, though the style differed between the two organizations. Boy Scouts used a more traditional external frame pack, while the Girl Scouts adopted a sleeker internal frame pack. Introduced in 1937, it was designed to carry all the necessities for a weekend outing. Both were modeled after styles used in Europe. For Boy Scouts, the emphasis was on creating a pack that was easy to put on and take off, as well as quick access to supplies. For Girl Scouts, the focus was on a lightweight pack with a more snug fit, allowing the wearer to remain nimble. Either way, these early packs helped instill the idea of using backpacks for more than just school books. They could be used for recreation and exploration. Speaking of school books, the real evolution of the modern backpack can be seen in the shift from carrying them by hand to wearing them on our backs. The earliest printed references to backpacks being used by school children appear in the late 1940s. 1. Such example is a 1949 cartoon depicting children carrying their books in sacks. By the 1950s and 60s, books were becoming heavier and students were carrying more of them. At first, they were still carried by hand, often in a large satchel or bundled under the arm. But soon, the backpack began to appear. At this time, there was no one style of school backpack. Students wore what they could get, often hand-me-downs, which might be a military rucksack, a book bag, or even a duffel bag. If you lived in the city, you might carry your books by hand, because you only had to walk a few blocks to school. But if you lived in the suburbs, you might need a pack to carry your books, especially if you took the bus or rode your bike. Over time, backpacks became more common. In fact, by the 1970s, some schools required their students wear backpacks. No longer could you get away with carrying your books by hand. And although students might still complain about the weight of their books, at least now they weren't straining their backs, bending over under their weight. The first mass-produced student backpack was the Trenton made by the J.L. Hudson Company in 1950. Hudson had produced book bags since the early 1900s, but this was the first with straps to be worn on the shoulders. Though marketed towards students, it was still more akin to a military rucksack than a modern backpack. It was large, bulky, and came in only one size, though it did include a lunch kit. Other companies quickly followed suit, releasing their own versions of the student backpack. Jan and Keds, best known for sneakers, released a book bag in 1959, while other companies, like Oshman's, featured colorful packs with fun names like Highboy and Zoom. The Oshman's website described the Zoom as the perfect pack for the boy who likes to be first off the mark. By the 1960s, the packs were smaller, more comfortable, and stylish. They were available in different colors and patterns and had fun names like Flower Pot, Daisy, and Hippie. They were also designed for girls and boys, allowing them to express their personalities. As children got older, their packs grew with them. By the 1970s, they were equipped with more pockets and features to help organize books, binders, and folders. The North Face brand was introduced in 1966 and quickly became a favorite among students. Though prices were high, ranging from $8 to $22, despite the price, North Face packs were considered a sign that you had arrived. This is the classic school backpack. Every student around the world has one. They come in all shapes and sizes, but they have one thing in common: 2 shoulder straps. But why do students carry these bags? Well, that's what we'll be exploring today. But before we start, remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us keep making great videos like this one. Also, stick around until the end because we have a super cool competition for you. You could win $300 US. Back to our story. When I was in primary school, all the kids carried backpacks except for one boy named Bobby. His mom said that backpacks are for girls. So Bobby carried his books in a big plastic bag. He looked funny walking down the hallway with that huge bag bouncing up and down. But he didn't care what other people thought of him. That is, until one day when his mom packed his school bag with too many things. The bag ripped, and Bobby had to carry the rest of his books in his hands. From that day on, Bobby never went to school without his backpack again. I remember those days well. As a kid, I loved carrying my school backpack. My dad bought it for me from a shop in a nearby town. It was blue, and it had these red stripes across the sides. I chose it because it matched my favorite jacket. On the first day of school, I saw some of my friends carrying new backpacks, too. There were all shapes and sizes. Some were big and some were small. Some were flashy and some were boring. But they all replaced the plastic bags that we used the year before. We no longer looked funny carrying our books to school. We now looked like real students. But why did schools suddenly ask us to carry backpacks instead of plastic bags? Why did companies start making them for kids? And why are backpacks so popular today? The answer is a bit complicated, but let's try to break it down in this chapter. Let's go back in time to the 1970s. Back then, there were two types of bags that people used to carry their stuff: satchels and suitcases. Satchels were good for carrying clothes and documents, but they were too small for textbooks. That's why students often carried a second bag just for books. This wasn't ideal, so some clever person had the idea of combining them into one bag. Voila! The backpack was born. In the beginning, backpacks only had one strap, so they weren't very comfortable to carry. But soon, designers added a second strap, and backpacks became more and more popular. In the 1980s, backpack sales exploded. Suddenly, everyone wanted one. And why not? They were better than satchels and suitcases. They were convenient and left our hands free. Of course, they've changed a lot since then. Today, you can buy backpacks for almost any activity: hiking, camping, traveling, skiing, and even for school. Speaking of school, why did schools suddenly ask students to carry backpacks? Well, it has to do with safety. Imagine you're a teacher in a crowded classroom. Someone comes running late. Where do they put their books and bag? Probably in the middle of the room, right? Well, in the 1970s, schools didn't allow this. Students had to carry their books by hand, which made it harder for them to listen and learn. Some students couldn't even carry all the books they needed, so they would leave them outside the classroom, or worse, at home. Schools didn't like this, so they started asking students to carry backpacks. There was another reason why schools asked kids to carry backpacks. It had to do with the oil crisis in the 1970s. After the crisis, plastic became more expensive, which meant that plastic bags were no longer an affordable option. Schools had to find a cheaper alternative, and that's when they turned to backpacks. Of course, they were more expensive than plastic bags, but they would last longer. Plus, they were better for learning. The backpack was slowly accepted as a school bag, but it still had a long way to go. Many parents thought that backpacks were too expensive and too American for their kids. They preferred that their children carry their books by hand. But times change, and today, backpacks are part of every student's life. They come in different styles and colors and are filled with cool gadgets and gear. So, the next time you see a student with a backpack, take a closer look. You might see something interesting. For example, have you ever noticed how big students' backpacks are? Why do they need to be so big? Well, that has to do with what students put inside their bags. They usually carry 3 things: books, stationery, and electronics. Books are heavy, so they need a big bag to carry them. Stationery, like pens and pencils, aren't heavy, but they take up a lot of space. And then there's electronics. These are the newest additions to school bags. First came the laptop, then the tablet, and now the e-reader. All these devices have made school bags heavier and bigger. It's not uncommon to see students carrying bags that are the same size as them. Just think about that for a second. A child carrying a giant bag on their back. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. But the story doesn't end there. Not all students carry big bags. Some actually carry 2 bags, a small one for their books and a second one for their electronics. The second bag isn't always a backpack. Sometimes it's a messenger bag or a briefcase. These bags are smaller and more organized, which makes it easier to carry cables, adapters, and batteries. As you can see, students today carry more stuff than any other group of people. They're like tiny businessmen walking around with briefcases and backpacks. They use their bags to learn, share, and create. With all that stuff in their bags, it's no wonder they look tired all the time. But not all students are the same. Some live close to school and only carry a few books. Others take their laptops everywhere they go. And some carry nothing at all. Yes, some students don't carry bags. They leave their books in their lockers and download everything they need onto their tablets. They can watch lectures online and send their homework via email. They don't need a big bag for that. All they need is a small pouch for their cables and a water bottle for when they get thirsty. But why are some students still carrying big bags if they have all that technology? Well, that's because technology is still new. Many schools prefer physical books and traditional homework. It's easier for them to check a written essay than an online one. And it's easier for them to collect books than USB sticks. Plus, some students don't have a device or internet at home, so they have to carry all their work with them. In the future, school bags will probably become smaller. That's because technology will become more important in schools. Maybe one day, we won't even need to carry a bag. All our books and work will be inside our heads. But until that happens, we'll continue seeing students with giant bags on their backs. Okay, it's time for a quick recap. Let's go over the most important points of the chapter. First, today, almost every student carries a backpack. It's convenient and frees our hands. But why do they carry backpacks? Because schools want them to. Back in the 1970s, students either carried 2 bags or nothing. They had to carry their books, which was hard and dangerous. So schools asked students to carry backpacks instead. But what's interesting is that backpacks have changed a lot over the years. Some students carry 2 bags, one for their books and the other for their electronics. They do this because their bags are full of heavy stuff. They carry books, pens, cables, chargers, computers, and more. And yes, some students don't carry bags. They leave their books in their lockers and download all their work. That's because technology is becoming more important in schools. Maybe one day we won't even need to carry a bag. We should point out that while they are the obvious choice for students, there are alternatives. In many countries, including Japan, it's common for students to carry their stuff around in a briefcase or a kind of leather bag that's often handed down from their parents. You might also get kids with shoulder bags, too. However, even in these countries, backpacks are still super popular. In fact, if you go to a department store, you'll find that most of the school bags in stock are backpacks. It seems like it was only a matter of time before the rest of the world followed suit. So what is it about these bags that makes them so appealing? Well, that's a tough question to answer because there are so many different reasons why backpacks are so popular. In fact, it would be fair to say that the appeal of backpacks is similar to that of a blank canvas or a fresh notebook. That is, it's up to the owner to add their own creative flair to it. That's part of the reason why backpacks have become so closely linked with subcultures such as the gap year, travel, hitchhiking, and adventure tourism. The design is utilitarian but allows for personalization through patches, pins, and other accessories. Some people have signature backpacks that are covered in pins and stickers that tell the story of their travels. This aspect of the backpack, its ability to be a tool of self-expression, has made it a staple of pop culture. In movies and TV shows, backpacks are often used to visually distinguish characters who are outsiders or adventurers from those who aren't. A classic example is Frodo Baggins from Lord of the Rings. His backpack is filled with items that he needs for his journey, such as food, water, and rope. This reflects the fact that he's going on an adventure and will need to be self-sufficient. In the Harry Potter series, Hermione Granger is often seen with her wand tucked into the pocket of her robe and a small backpack slung over her shoulder. This is significant because it shows that she's a witch and also that she's independent and self-sufficient. Backpacks have also been featured prominently in anime and video games. In Studio Ghibli films, like My Neighbor Totoro, backpacks are often used as a way to signify childhood and adventure. In the video game series, The Legend of Zelda, Link typically wears a backpack to hold his supplies as he explores Hyrule. This is not only functional, but also helps to establish him as a hero on a quest. The use of backpacks in pop culture reflects their ability to evoke feelings of nostalgia, adventure, and self-reliance. Now, you might be wondering, why do students need a backpack in the first place? After all, they could just carry their stuff around in their arms. Well, it turns out that there are a number of reasons why backpacks are actually more practical than carrying things by hand. For one thing, they allow students to keep their hands free. This means that they can do other things while they're walking, such as talking to a friend or eating a snack. Additionally, backpacks help students to distribute the weight of their belongings more evenly. This is especially important if they're carrying heavy loads, such as textbooks. By distributing the weight more evenly, backpacks can help prevent students from getting tired or injured. Finally, backpacks are simply more convenient than carrying things by hand. They allow students to keep their belongings safe and secure, and they don't have to worry about dropping anything along the way. Overall, backpacks offer a number of practical benefits for students, which is why they've become such a popular choice around the world. That said, backpacks weren't always so popular. In fact, it wasn't until the mid-20th century that they really started to take off. Before that, students typically carried their books and supplies by hand or in a messenger bag. But the invention of the modern backpack changed all of that. Daypacks were pretty common in the early 1900s. They were used by hikers and hunters, but were quite expensive and had limited capacity. The most notable feature of these early backpacks was the frame. It had a metal support that helped to carry the weight of the load, but it made the pack bulky and uncomfortable. Early iterations of backpacks were also quite expensive, which limited their appeal. However, all of that changed during World War II, when the US military developed the rucksack, a lightweight, durable, and comfortable pack that was perfect for soldiers. After the war, these rucksacks became available to the public and quickly became popular with hikers and backpackers. One of the biggest advantages of the rucksack was that it didn't have a metal frame. This made it much more comfortable to wear than previous backpacks, but it also meant that it couldn't carry as much weight. Despite this, the rucksack was a huge hit and soon became the go-to backpack for outdoor enthusiasts. It wasn't long before companies started making smaller versions of the rucksack for students. These backpacks were lighter and smaller than the full-size rucksacks, but they were still durable and comfortable to wear. One of the most popular brands of student backpacks was Jan, which was founded in 1963. The company quickly became known for its high-quality, stylish backpacks that were perfect for students. Jandak's designs were a hit, and soon the company was supplying backpacks to students all over the United States. In the 1970s and 80s, backpacks became increasingly fashionable, and people of all ages began carrying them. This trend was driven, in part, by the counterculture movement of the 1960s, which rejected traditional values and norms. Backpacks became a symbol of this new way of life, representing freedom, adventure, and independence. As the backpacking boom continued, more and more companies began producing backpacks for a variety of uses. Some backpacks were designed for hiking, while others were better suited for travel. There were even backpacks designed specifically for women. This increased competition led to lower prices and higher quality products, making backpacks more accessible to everyone. By the late 20th century, backpacks had gone from being a niche product to being a mainstream item. They were being used by students, travelers, hikers, and everyone in between. Today, backpacks are more popular than ever. They're being used by people of all ages and backgrounds and come in a variety of styles and designs. The backpack has truly gone global, with companies now selling them in every country. In some parts of the world, such as in the United States and Europe, the backpack has largely replaced the briefcase as the go-to bag for students. In other parts of the world, such as in Asia, the briefcase is still more popular. However, even in these places, the backpack is gaining ground. As more and more students see their peers carrying backpacks, they're likely to follow suit. The backpack has come a long way since its humble beginnings as a military rucksack. It's evolved into a versatile, stylish, and practical item that's perfect for students. The backpack is now the go-to bag for students in many parts of the world, and it's likely that this trend will continue in the future. We may even see new designs and innovations that make the backpack even more popular. Whatever the future holds, one thing is clear: the backpack has earned its place in our everyday lives. One trend that we're already seeing is a move away from traditional backpacks towards more innovative designs. Some companies are experimenting with backpacks that have solar panels built in to charge electronic devices. Others are making backpacks with built-in luggage handles so that they can be pulled like a suitcase. Still, others are creating backpacks that can be worn in different ways, such as over one shoulder or as a sling. These innovative designs show that the backpack is far from becoming outdated. In fact, it's evolving and adapting to the changing needs of its users. It's likely that we'll see even more changes in the future as new technologies and trends emerge. But one thing is for sure: the backpack will continue to be an iconic symbol of adventure, independence, and self-reliance for generations to come. One trend is clear: convenience and tech integration are key. Meet the ultimate smart backpack equipped with not one, but 2 charging ports. This sleek bag is designed to keep your devices powered up on the go. With its anti-theft strap and lockable zippers, it ensures your belongings are safe and sound. Plus, its built-in GPS tracker provides peace of mind. And when it's time to hit the road, simply attach the included luggage strap for effortless travel. But it's not just about functionality. This backpack also boasts a stylish design, complete with a dedicated laptop compartment and ample storage space. In fact, there's so much room you can even fit an iPad inside. It's no wonder why this bag has become a popular choice for students and commuters alike. And with its durable, water-resistant material, it can withstand the daily wear and tear of an active lifestyle. Whether you're heading to school or work, this backpack has you covered. So why settle for a boring old backpack when you can have it all with this ultimate smart backpack? And if you find this video interesting, please give it a like. It really helps us grow. Next up, let's check out another incredible innovation in the world of backpacks. Meet the ultimate eco-friendly backpack made from recycled plastics and other sustainable materials. This bag is not only stylish, but also planet-powered. What sets it apart, though, is its unique, shape-shifting design. When it's time to pack it up, simply adjust the drawstrings and watch as the backpack morphs into a compact, square shape, ready for storage. No more bulky backpacks cluttering your living space. But that's not all. This backpack is also incredibly durable thanks to its tough, ripstop nylon exterior and easy-to-clean liner. Plus, with its weatherproof zippers and reinforced edges, you can take it anywhere without worrying about the elements. And while it may not have dedicated compartments for a laptop or tablet, its spacious main compartment and front pocket provide plenty of room for all your essentials. Plus, the padded shoulder straps and back panel ensure a comfortable carry even when it's full. It's no wonder why this backpack is perfect for everyday use, whether you're commuting to work or running errands around town. So why wait? Upgrade your backpack game and join the sustainable revolution today. And did you know that backpacks have been around for thousands of years? From the ancient Egyptians, who used leather bags to carry goods, to the Incas, who developed intricate woven textiles for their backpacks. Throughout history, backpacks have played a vital role in human progress. During the 15th century, backpacks evolved into more structured bags with shoulder straps and were used by travelers and traders. In the 19th century, the invention of canvas and other durable materials led to the creation of backpacks specifically designed for hiking and camping. Today, backpacks come in a wide variety of styles and sizes for different purposes, including laptop backpacks, camera backpacks, and travel backpacks. They're made from a range of materials such as nylon, polyester, and leather, and often feature compartments and pockets for organization. Backpacks are not only practical, but also reflect personal style and can be a great conversation starter. Whether you're a student, a traveler, or just someone who needs to carry their stuff, backpacks offer a convenient and versatile solution. Let's take a closer look at some innovative backpacks that cater to specific needs. Meet the ultimate laptop backpack designed with busy professionals in mind. This bag has a dedicated 18-inch laptop compartment and plenty of space for your other tech gear. The separate tech panel includes a large back pocket for a tablet and several pockets for cables, adapters, and other small items. Plus, the RFID blocking pocket provides added security for your cards. But it's not just about the tech storage. This backpack also features a front, quick grab pocket for easy access to essentials like your phone or wallet, while the dedicated admin panel offers even more organization with pockets for pens, keys, and other small accessories. And with the USB-C and USB-A charging ports, you can stay powered up on the go. The large main compartment provides ample space for clothing and other gear, with a separate shoe compartment to keep your clothes clean. Plus, the front compression straps keep everything secure and organized. Made from durable, water-resistant materials, this laptop backpack is built to last. The YKK zippers and heavy-duty fabric ensure that your belongings are safe and dry, no matter the weather. Plus, the ergonomic design with breathable mesh padding makes it comfortable to carry, even when it's packed to the brim. Whether you're commuting to work or traveling for business, this laptop backpack has you covered. Next up, let's check out another innovative backpack that's perfect for adventure seekers. Meet the ultimate camera backpack, designed to carry all your photo gear safely and securely. This bag features a removable camera insert with adjustable dividers that can accommodate a variety of camera bodies and lenses. Plus, the padded back panel and shoulder straps provide additional protection against bumps and knocks. But it's not just about the camera storage. This backpack also has a top quick grab pocket for smaller items like batteries and memory cards, while the side water bottle pocket keeps your hydration close at hand. And with the integrated tripod holder, you can free up your hands for other gear like a drone or binoculars. The bag's main compartment provides plenty of space for clothing and other accessories with mesh zippered pockets for organization. Plus, the front bungee cords allow for additional attachment points for larger items like a tripod. Made from durable, waterproof materials, this camera backpack is built to withstand the elements. The rugged fabric and heavy-duty zippers ensure that your gear stays safe and dry no matter the weather. Plus, the ergonomic design with breathable mesh padding makes it comfortable to carry even when it's packed to the brim. So whether you're a professional photographer or just someone who loves to capture memories on the go, this camera backpack has you covered. And did you know that backpacks are not just practical, but also reflect personal style and can be a great conversation starter? Some backpacks make bold fashion statements with bright colors and unique designs, while others prioritize functionality and minimalism. Regardless of style, backpacks have become an iconic fashion accessory. But what about the future of backpacks? Will they continue to evolve, or will they remain the same as technology advances? We may see backpacks with integrated solar panels for charging on the go, or backpacks with built-in security features for added safety. Whatever the future holds, one thing is certain: backpacks will continue to be an essential part of our lives. So why wait? Upgrade your backpack game today and join the backpack revolution. You deserve it. And if you're still not convinced that backpacks are the ultimate accessory, consider this. They're incredibly versatile and can be used in a variety of ways. For example, a backpack can be used as a personal item on an airplane, freeing up space for carry-on luggage. They can also be used as a stylish way to carry your stuff around campus or the office. And for those who love the outdoors, backpacks are essential for hiking, camping, and other adventures. Plus, backpacks are not just for kids anymore. With so many different styles and designs available, there's a backpack for everyone, regardless of age or gender. So, what do you think of the future of backpacks? Will you stick with traditional backpacks, or will you try something new? And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.